A little over 20 years ago, a man named Kenneth Edelman started the California Coastal Records Project. The point of this project was to photograph the entire California coastline and document the erosion caused by waves over long periods of time. Using a helicopter, photos were taken every 500 feet, resulting in 12,000 images of the coast being publicly available on the project's website. Now, of course, these aerial photographs are going to show all of the houses built along the coastline, but because the project's goal was to document erosion in order to influence government policymakers, the privacy concerns of the California homeowners weren't considered important enough to derail the project. However, one of those homeowners was none other than American singer and actress Barbra Streisand, and she tried to sue the photographer for violation of privacy. Before she started the lawsuit, the photo of her house had only been downloaded 6 times from the project website, and 2 of those downloads were from her lawyers. After news of the lawsuit had went public, this led to a lot of curious people wondering what Barbra Streisand was making such a big deal about, and in the following month, the website had been visited over 400,000 times. By trying to suppress information that barely anyone knew about to begin with, Barbra actually brought more attention to the Coastal Records website, resulting in hundreds of thousands of people seeing the photo of her mansion. A few years later, this phenomenon would be dubbed the Streisand effect. Last year in April, Ross Scott of the Accursed Farms YouTube channel launched the Stop Killing Games initiative after Ubisoft announced that they would be shutting down their servers for a game called The Crew. While the game does have a single-player mode, it was developed in a way where it cannot be played offline. In order to play this game and many others like it, you need to have an internet connection and be connected to the publisher's servers at all times. As you're probably well aware, it costs money to keep servers running so that you and I can play our favorite games online. And when those games get to a point where they're no longer profitable or the player base starts dwindling, from a business perspective, it makes sense to just shut the game down. At a surface level, this seems perfectly fine, right? In fact, I think most people would agree that they don't expect every online service to stay online until the end of the universe. The problem with shutting game servers down is that when the game in question is incapable of functioning offline, like The Crew I just mentioned. When you purchase a video game, there isn't an expiration date on it. You're not renting it for a set period of time. You are outright purchasing a copy of the product so that you can enjoy it whenever you want for as long as you want. However, more and more games over the last decade have been designed in a way that makes them completely unplayable once the publishers turn the servers off. So a short explanation of what Stop Killing Games is trying to do would be require video game publishers to implement end-of-life plans when shutting down games, so that customers can continue to play them without the publisher's support. Simple enough, right? Take Super Smash Bros. For example. Now the game isn't designed like this, but let's say it is. For this example, let's assume that every time you booted up Super Smash Bros., the game needed to connect to Nintendo's servers in order to launch. Even though it has a single-player mode and an extremely popular offline multiplayer mode, the first thing the game does when you launch it is connect to Nintendo's servers. Now let's say 10 years go by, and Nintendo decides it's getting too expensive to keep the Smash Bros. Servers running, and the game's online player base is only a tiny fraction of what it once was. So they decide to pull the plug. Now when your friend comes over and you guys want to play some Smash, you boot up the game and get some error screen saying that it can no longer connect to the servers. But you don't care about the online, you just want to play some offline Smash with your buddy. Well, too bad. The game that you paid upwards of $80 for because Nintendo prices are insane is no longer playable whatsoever. I'm sure you can see why that would be super messed up. Game publishers want to be able to sell you a product, but also have the right to take that product away from you whenever they want for whatever reason.
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Now, a couple weeks ago, Ross posted a video titled "The End of Stop Killing Games," because the deadline to sign the EU petition is at the end of this month, and the deadline for the UK petition is in the middle of the month.
Because with the trajectory we're on, these are both going to fail. So I figure, why wait until they actually do to tell people? Both the petitions end in July. The Citizens Initiative in particular on July 31st. This video probably won't change the timeline, it's just a last-ditch attempt to wake people up on it.
So as Ross says, he's been working on the Stop Killing Games initiative for the last year and was preparing to see it fail. That is, until someone by the name of Pirate Software started talking about it.
The Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Now, you're probably thinking one of two things, if not both. The first would be, God damn, is this guy an insufferable, egotistical asshole or what? And the second would be, if what he's saying is right, then this Stop Killing Games thing is kinda dumb. Except Clown Software over here didn't do his homework, and a lot of what he said about the initiative simply just isn't true. He has a fundamental misunderstanding of what the initiative is trying to accomplish, and he's been spreading tons of misinformation and outright lies to his massive audience of over 2 million subscribers.
Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact...
He never has that light bulb moment.
I'm sorry, Ross. I honestly thought he was about to have that eureka moment too, but alas.
Nothing in the initiative is asking to convert games to single player.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Yeah, so why does he keep bringing it up? This is a total red herring.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now. We're not against them existing. We're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer.
I physically feel Ross's frustration here, and the main reason why this sucks so much is because this clown's coverage on the topic got more attention than any other coverage before it, aside from Asmongold. And after he went on his long-winded, uneducated rant about something he clearly has no idea about, the petition started receiving less and less signatures.
This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork.
Have you ever gone on a really passionate rant about something, only to find out later that there was a misunderstanding and what you were getting so worked up about isn't even actually a thing? How would you react in that situation? It's obviously a little embarrassing since you were so upset and worked up about it, but usually if you just say, "Oh, I didn't realize it was like that, I'm sorry for getting so angry about it," then all is usually forgiven and everyone just moves on and forgets about it. Unfortunately, that is not what happened here.
They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. All of this can eat shit then. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. Corporate plant, degenerate, narcissist, nepo baby, and many other names. And they attacked all the accomplishments over my life, despite physical evidence to prove to the contrary. And they also went after every job I ever held, trying to say that I never worked them, or if I did work them, that I never deserved them. So I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted.
Now, this clip is from a different situation, but I just think it's hilarious. This is how this clown responds to criticism.
Your worst take ever? No, it's not.
Someone in chat, this is 100% your worst take ever. That is what I would say as someone with knowledge of the situation.
You know what I did before this? I worked at Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh my god. That is an insane reaction.
You know what I did before this? I worked at Blizzard Entertainment. Oh my god, that is absolute gold. It's like he's going, you know why you're a dumbass and I'm not? Because I worked at a certain company. Like, who talks like that? How do those words come out of your mouth unironically? Not only were his contributions at Blizzard nothing to write home about, the only reason he got a job there is because his dad was a massive important part of the company. The next time someone tries to criticize me about something or tell me my opinion is just like awful, I'm gonna be like, you know what I did before this? I worked at Spin Master. Just like, dude, no one cares. That doesn't mean anything. Ross even reached out to Clown Software to try and correct some of the misunderstandings, but his ego obviously wasn't going to let that happen.
I think I've been pretty diplomatic. I am just trying to get this initiative passed. If that means I have to get insulted all along the way, okay. So with that in mind, I reached out to him, not expecting to change his mind, but to at least clarify things since he got so much wrong. If you're gonna hate us, at least hate us for what we're actually doing, not for things that are made up about us.
I got a message from Ross. There were many other misunderstandings in your video. It's clear that you hate the initiative, and I doubt I would change that. That is correct. I would encourage you to at least hate it for what it actually is. I do.
He says that so confidently. Oh yeah, you knocked it out of the park. You understood everything.
In other words, the customer is told explicitly that their access ends at the time of payment. Most live service games do not do this, which could run afoul of EU law. Most is patently incorrect.
Patently incorrect? Okay, for those who don't know much about live service games, that's like saying the Earth isn't round. He says verifiably false things so confidently.
So now I wanted to take a page out of Pirate Software's book and open up the good old Microsoft Paint, because nothing makes you look more like an infallible genius than illustrating basic concepts on MS Paint. So here's the Stop Killing Games initiative. It's kind of out there in the universe existing, but it's not really doing all that much. Then some clown comes by, does a little speed reading, maybe skims through the last few paragraphs and says, I don't understand this at all, but I think it's dumb, and I also think you're dumb if you support it. But because this guy has like a goofy clown nose and a silly voice, everyone else was just like, hey, I'm gonna look into this a little bit and see what it's actually about, because normally I don't take advice from clowns. And then all of a sudden, this initiative that was on its last legs and about to die is now getting all of this crazy attention. The UK petition has cleared its goal of 100,000 signatures, and the EU petition is well over 1 million signatures. However, if you live in the EU or UK, the initiative still needs your help. There's always signatures that get invalidated and don't count for whatever reason, so it really is a matter of the more the merrier, because it definitely helps to have extra signatures as insurance. Even game developers and publishers have started to come out and comment on this initiative, but I think I'm going to save that one for a future video. So, all in all, I just thought this was a great example of the Streisand effect. It wasn't so much that Pirate Software was trying to suppress information, but it's really interesting to see how much momentum this initiative has gotten since he started campaigning against it. It's honestly just entertaining and utterly baffling to see someone so adamant about being wrong and having no intention of trying to understand why. This man's brain needs to be studied for science, and not because he thinks he's some genius or something, it's really quite the opposite. So let me know what you think in the comments of this crazy Stop Killing Games and Pirate Software situation. If you live in the UK or EU, I strongly recommend reading up on the initiatives and then signing the petitions if it's something that you would like to support. I also strongly recommend watching the videos posted by Ross, the person who started the whole initiative, and I'll link those in the video description as well. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and thanks for watching.
They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing.